So FSDbeta 11.4.1, just making a quick run to get some dry cleaning, and thought I'd see if we can document some behavior. We had a bunch of old people that walk around this neighborhood, so I like to, and they like to walk like in the middle of the street, so I like to go a little slower than maybe some other people would, so as I don't surprise them. Oh, this is a bad turn because you can't see, but well, you can barely see up the street there. People come down that hill about 45 miles an hour. Anyway, so we're gonna go down the stop sign here, make a right, and this is a place that it used to stop right at the stop sign with the front bumper, even with the stop, but now it okay, that's what it's doing this time. It stopped way back, so I cannot see. And there's a bike lane here, and okay, that was good. A little bit of hesitation when it got into the turn there after it started, about halfway through. And that's been something I noticed. The previous version I had was 11.3.6, and had pretty good follow through on things like that. But I've noticed my first drive on this was perfect, almost perfect. There were a couple of interventions where I had to add a little throttle to get it to go, and I had one intervention for comfort on my part. So I thought this was a much better release. All of the driving, the speeding up, slowing down, and turning, lane placement, and everything was very good. It was like a person was driving, so I was very impressed. And then my second drive was not really, it was not the same. There was a lot of hesitation, and I noticed the behavior at stop signs where it starts to go, and then it seems like it starts to go, and then it hesitates. So it'll roll, and then like it'll pull back a little bit and let off. So I think that could create confusion for other people, that, you know, you get in the queue and go around the circle, and when it's your turn, you go. And so people get that rhythm going, and they start rolling when they think their time's coming up. They start, you know, they go. So if you start rolling and don't go, then it's confusing, and it is irritating too. So another thing that I had a huge problem with was the crazy blinker randomness that would come on whenever you were going around a turn like this, or sometimes it would just, you'd be going straight down the road and it'd put the blinker on and indicating a lane change and not change lanes, and I don't like that behavior. So that was driving me nuts. But one last thing I'll say, a lot of testers will, a lot of people will just let the car keep driving when it comes to a difficulty to see what it will do, and I don't like to do that. I don't like to inconvenience other people, and it gets irritating for me too. I just drive with it. So if it's not doing something I want to do, I turn it off and I drive. So that means, like, if it's taking too long at a stop sign, I'll probably hit the gas or the throttle to get it to go. Unless nobody's around. If nobody's around, then we can see what it'll do. But if it's doing something that's going to cause confusion or frustration to other people, I jump in way before other people do that are on YouTube. So let's see what happens here. This one should be pretty straightforward. And it's waiting, and it took a little bit of a pause at the stop sign, but that was fine because there's nobody there. So And my reaction to at a stop sign where I might want to, you know, intervene and get it to go a little quicker could be just the result of that, where it's pausing longer than I ordinarily do and that I think people should. In other words, I know when it's my turn to go and I go. And if the car isn't going when I think I should go, then I'll step on the gas. And that's a hard habit to break, because I've been in the beta program for a while, and I've had autopilot now for going on 2 years, and so I'm kind of accustomed to driving with it, and that's the way I drive. I try to minimize problems and use it the best way, you know, the way it works best for me is to help steer and see things that I don't see, and take some of the workload away from driving. So that was a little bit late going away from that guy. It was like we started to turn away from him just about 5 feet behind him, and then we were probably 20 or 30 feet in front of him before we were, you know, halfway into the next lane almost, it seemed like. So. But it did swerve around him, and it didn't slow down. Up here is a stop sign on the side road that most of the time it will slow down. It wasn't doing that in my previous version 11 releases, and it didn't do it this time. It has done it at that stop sign with this release most of the time. I think that's the second time out of 5 or 6 times I've been by it that it has not slowed down there. Sorry for the sniffling my nose. That's kind of a disgusting sound. It's allergies are terrible around here in springtime. Okay, so it used to stop. That stop sign is for people going straight. This one is for me, and this is good behavior because now it's stopping at this stop sign and not that one. It used to stop there, although now it's taking a little bit of time. I'm going to hit the gas here. And so that wasn't cool, but nobody was around, so it didn't interfere with anyone. But it doesn't stop at the first stop sign. It used to stop back when it was starting that turn, and then go up to the stop sign and stop again, and proceed out of there. I don't think that it has ever just hit the throttle and gone, okay, so this is a roundabout, and I covered the gas and I started to press it, but I don't think I actually made it go any faster. So I'm gonna hit the gas here just to be sure. I think it probably would have been fine there. It's driving a little bit more aggressive. I'll check my settings. It seems like it might be putting on the brakes. Anyway, I'm at my stop now, so. And then I can go straight back, I believe. A little bit more. And this way here. This way right here. Okay. See, I'm good now. So let me get right on out here. Oops. And let's see. Okay, gets in the wrong lane and corrects itself. So ordinarily when I'm driving, I would just go ahead and get into the road. And yeah, so this is, I'm not going to let it do that. I know some of these people around here. They're like, pull me over. Drunk driving. Yeah, so boy, driving in the wrong lane. And here, this thing is not driving well at all. It's it could be a little smoother in the queue here. It's kind of going a little bit too fast for me, so let's see what it does here. Don't like that behavior. I disengage here. This thing was driving goofy. Stopping and starting, going through the stop sign, bad behavior is confusing, whether it's going or not. So yeah, that's unfortunate because the first time I drove this thing, it did none of that, and now it's like this is the worst it's done at stop signs, and pulling into the lane like that. Into that turn-only lane was pretty rookie. It seems like we're going backwards on those things. So the only positive, I think, would be that the acceleration and decel and like this, it doesn't need to stop like this next to this car. So I'm intervening here. And so I hit the gas there, or the throttle, sorry, a little bit there so it wouldn't slow down so much. I have a little bit of traffic. Oops. Traffic around me, but I don't think there was actually anybody right behind me then. So, as I was saying, the positives are the actual driving physics, the stopping and going, and or rather accel, decel, and turning seems to be a little better. Actually, that was prior to this drive, because I'm noticing it seems like there was a little bit when I was stopped, jerkiness in the wheel too when I was coming out of that shopping center there when I first started this trip, the return part here. So, but a little embarrassing, I guess. Oh yeah, and then we had some people walking their dogs crossing the street with their dogs, and going from I think it was 2 lanes down to 1, and so a little bit of more embarrassing. Well, yeah, I guess embarrassing behavior there, and it probably would have seen and come over, but the way it's driving, I don't know. I don't want to trust it. So as you saw, I took over there, and then I took over at the stop sign. So basically, at most traffic interactions, I've been taking over, other than just following in traffic in a normal, progressing down the roadway with traffic. It seems to be fine at that, but when you get into interactions at stops is the issue. I guess that makes sense. So I wonder if I was checking if autopilot had changed, because let me set it on average, because because I've had it on, it's always favored the right-hand lane, and it's never stayed in this lane. Let me just go in that lane and see what happens. So it's going to slow down here soon, I hope. It wasn't, autopilot had accelerated, and a car pulled in front of us, and it should have slowed down sooner. And it wasn't accelerating, I don't think, but it wasn't slowing down. I stopped it. So yeah, this is not, I don't think this will go out wide, and I think that they need to do some tweaking on it. And the funny thing is that yesterday I went for a drive, and it seemed too timid, and doing that kind of thing where it's like hesitating a little bit. Usually for a reason, like there's a pedestrian on the side of the road, or vehicles or something. But it seems like it just didn't recognize that the car was. I'm gonna go. I'm not stopping for that car. So this has been pretty. Stopped in the left turn lane when we should have gone. There was plenty of room to take that turn, and no reason to stop. And I think when you do stuff like that, you become a hazard. So this is not good at all. And it's totally opposite of my first drive. So this is my third drive now. I've gone probably about 40 or 50 miles total. And this was probably the worst behavior. I had more traffic on one of the drives and did not have as many issues, but I guess to be fair, I would say that let me just see where we're going here. I would say that what would I say? Yeah, some of the traffic interactions were a little more complicated. Let me slow down going through here. It's construction. There's no freaking nails in the street. These guys walk by here and pick up nails all the time. Okay, this is interesting. So this guy's blocking the road here, and autopilot can't figure out what to do. So I'm gonna disengage and just drive around it. And so that wasn't autopilot's fault, really. The choice was to go left the wrong way on a, approach in the opposing traffic lane, or I guess it could have turned like I did. It didn't. I don't know if it was going to do that. I suppose I could have waited. Okay, so actually let me end this trip and go down to a place here where I can park in the road and just punch in one more thing on the, let's see, get rid of that. I want to get rid of that. Just punch in something on the map over here. Cloud Road? Really? Oh, I don't want to go there. That's not where I punched in. I want to go here. Yeah. Okay, so now let's see if it drives a little better. And I'm slowing down because this is there's a lot of old folks walking around this neighborhood here, so they sometimes walk in the middle of the street on the wrong side of the road and will send nasty emails to the HOA if they are offended. Okay, so it's slowing down there. Pick up the speed a little bit. Just driving down the road for things that aren't too out of the ordinary, I think Autopilot does, or FSD does a really good job. And it's just when you get into the traffic and unusual things that become uncomfortable, and that's usually when I take over. So stop here. I just roll through this. I'm gonna let it go. There's a guy behind me, and he's actually a friend of mine. Probably ask me what I'm doing. So here, let's see what happens. Okay, so that was fine, and it hesitated there, so I just hit the throttle. That's it shouldn't be doing that. So definitely this. In fact, I'm going to disengage. I had to hit the throttle when we pulled out onto the road here. It was not accelerating. We were into the lane, and then it was going about 8 or 10 miles an hour, and it started slowing down. So I think that's it. And then here, it always thinks it's 40 miles an hour on this street, so it'll start going fast. Okay, that's it. That's it. So I'm gonna hang it up now. Not too good a drive, but still, for the way I use it, I really appreciate having FSD. I think it's worth it. It really saves a lot of work for me, and I just intervene, and whenever there's something uncomfortable, or in some areas I just don't use it. And that would be, the things that we saw, those stop signs and pulling out into traffic is where we had the trouble. So I just do that manually. Also, in the past, something that I've done is if a car gets too close to me following, Autopilot, or FSD, sorry, I keep saying that, kind of had a habit of just tapping on the brakes unexpectedly and for no reason at times. So if there's somebody gets too close, I would turn off, or at least cover the throttle with my foot, so that we didn't have any unexpected slowdowns for people that may be driving too close and not expecting you to slow down for no reason. So